What is the third eye, and what happens when our third eye is able to see? It's located at the center of the head between your natural eyes, and this chakra opens the door multidimensionally to our senses to help us escape the dense limitations of our ego, our materialistic, physical, illusion-based world. As our spiritual eye begins to open, deeper spiritual truths will tune into us, and the veil of illusion will begin to wear away. An open spiritual eye reveals the truth of reality. Without it being dominant, no spiritual discernment can happen. Well, I believe spiritual discernment only comes from God. We ask for it. We have to ask for it. Now, a part of the planet has blocked the sixth chakra. Humanity is very materialistic and focused strictly on the natural world and what the natural world can provide for them. Because their spiritual eyes are closed, people are unable to recognize God, and they fall into a trap of lack of ego and the disempowerment and try to fill their emptiness with material gains and the expression of others, while their souls are desperate for the spiritual wealth and nourishment that only God and themselves can provide. Most of humanity only believes in what they see with their physical eyes, completely ignoring the spiritual realms. In fact, we don't even have to see with our physical eyes, we see with our minds. Science, religion, and education have stifled our imagination, and we have placed God and everything else spiritually in a tight, neat little box that literally blocks our spirit energies and intuitive senses. When this happens, truth and discernment cannot be fully accessible. Therefore, we can easily be misled and believe lies for truths. Restrictions on the energies of this chakra keeps us from being able to find the root of our problems and create irrational fears that keep us disconnected and separated from others. And the writer says, when I have a balanced sixth chakra, realization of psychic powers, spiritual alertness, intuition, clairvoyance, imagination, discernment, I'm able to visualize. I have a good memory. I connect with the divine mind, and I have wisdom. I have inner conscious knowing, and I have perception beyond duality. I have multidimensional perception, higher psychic senses, sixth sense, I see the truth, and I have vision. When I have an unbalanced sixth chakra, denial, obsessions, lack of imagination, poor memory, numbness, I live in illusions, I'm cynical, I have irrational fears, I lack discernment that is, I have third dimensionality, I have a limited view of reality. When I experience trauma to the sixth chakra, I cancel intuition and psychic experiences and live in a fear-filled, rigid environment. Physical symptoms: blockage, tension, headaches, eye problems, throat problems, ear and nose disorders, blockage of my physical and multidimensional senses, touch, taste, sight, hearing, and smell. The third eye chakra is related to the pineal gland, which is the seat of our soul. Well, the soul actually is in every cell of our body. Now, but the throne of God is our hearts. Now, when activated, light and encoded information by people of higher intelligence can be understood. Deeper knowledge is achieved, and spiritual truths and consciousness are expanded, and the ability to transcend the human ego is possible to happen. It is the ego that creates the veil between spirit and man, creating spiritual blindness. This veil keeps people from being able to perceive the higher levels of their being and keeping their wisdom in the illusion of the third dimension. Opening our spiritual eye helps us as humans to see our patterns, beliefs, and limited way of thinking that need to be overcome in order to uplift our soul. Keeping it open and allowing us to simply be who we are also determines the opening of our spiritual eye. It does not have to be completely open in order for us to begin to access spiritual truth and spiritual discernment. When it's fully open and harmonized, we will be able to see and communicate with the angels, spirit guides, and ascending masters, the limitations of our time with our saints. The limitations of time and space are overcome in forecasting, and remote viewing becomes possible. All these abilities are a divine inalienable right. Multidimensional hearing, sight, feeling, and touch can be achieved by anyone willing to develop their senses higher. Now, this is very dangerous. We have to be careful here because even the evil one can give us these abilities. The abilities can be given to us as graces by God. We have to be careful of this. Now, did you know that your soul has its own unique aroma, sound, color, and vibration, unlike any other in the creation of the universe? Some highly attuned souls are actually able to tap into this part of their being. When you open with yourselves in higher consciousness, advanced powers of discernment will be available. Discernment comes from God. Now, unfortunately, belief in the wrath of God creates a tremendous fear in people, keeping them from accessing their inherently divine gifts. In order to open your eyes, your spiritual vision will have to integrate your fears and have a strong desire to break free from the illusions you've brought into. And each of us is an extremely multidimensional being and always connected to God. The greatest illusion we have bought is the concept of separation from God and being us and God. Once we fully understand and believe that God is love and is always with us, our fears will begin to unravel. Well, our fears, fear is a sin. It's one of the things that St. John the Theologian, the beloved disciple of God, tells us, do not fear. Now, by facing our fears and allowing the spiritual light to open, we will allow divine energy to flow over our seventh chakra, called the crown chakra. And once that happens, empowerment, divine enlightenment, divine realization, oneness, and blessings will come true. Okay, this comes true if you ask God for graces. It's one of the things that, I'll tell you a personal experience. I had gone to a Christian Orthodox monastery about an hour's drive north of Athens, Monit Sagmata, the monastery of Sagmata. And at one of the holy liturgies, I saw one of the priests there turning into uncreated light. And when I got home, I opened up the Holy Bible and I asked our Lord Jesus Christ, I said, Christ, what is this? What did I see? Because I read about it, but I had never seen it with my actual eyes. He started turning uncreated light from his head down to his toes. And it's not everyone that can see this. It depends on the grace that God gives you at that moment. Now, I opened up the Holy Bible and it said, you think this is something special? This is nothing compared to the gifts I have to give you from my treasure chest. Ask for me to give you gifts from my treasure chest. This is a commandment. Ask and God will give you. Seek and you will find. And the Apostle Paul says that in the New Testament that you should ask God for the big things, for the gifts, because he will give them to you. And why will he give them to you? Because that way people can see that you have special discernment and gifts, graces given by God that only God can give, and then that way they will believe in God. So that's a commandment. We have to ask for God's gifts. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support, and I hope God turns you all into living saints. Thank you for your support. Have a wonderful new year. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.